All right, y'all, another 24 that I done woke up and trying to make the best of the day, man. So getting back onto the Caprice, the bubble, the B body, getting back onto that thing that is the most clapped vehicle in my fleet. So after the last one, the one thing that I noticed and I forgot about is as I was moving the car and driving it around, I had issues ever since it was stolen for the third time and I got it back. And when I did, I started to try to fix issues with like the wiring, lights, tail lights, turn signals, all that stuff was kind of wonky. And I actually put in like a couple columns, but I don't even think that that was my problem. So I searched for a few columns and then I realized I had a parts column that I think I got rid of, but everything that's in the current column is what it's supposed to be as far as hardware goes. So that's when I thought, you know what, if I'm having issues with the wiring or some sort of electrical signal getting somewhere, I might as well just buy an actual whole GM new harness just to put inside the column. Then plus that it's not where it was before, so people aren't stealing it every time it gets new parts. Now I'm gonna get back to bolting on some of the stuff that I like. And for starters, one of them, definitely the steering wheel. That was one of the first things I did as a mod on this car years ago, and it was actually like a really horrible, cheap, like bottom of the barrel Grant, and it didn't look the greatest, but it was cool to me at the time. So what we're dealing with now is a Forever Sharp wheel. Now I've bought a few Forever Sharp wheels, and actually inside the Kodiak, that is a Forever Sharp wheel, that is a Forever Sharp adapter, and the button, all of it's Forever Sharp. Very affordable stuff. They have great sales. I am not sponsored by them by any means. I buy everything out of pocket. So going to show you a couple that I have with me right now, actually behind me, and kind of show you one was bought brand new, and that also was meant as another option for the Kodiak. But then I realized, me rushing and being Mr. Gung-Ho, I freaking bought a 6 bolt pattern instead of the 5, so I couldn't use it. Then the other one I got my hands on is one that was it's kind of like their B stock. I forgot what it was, but it has slight imperfections. That's the one that I got because I found one that might fit the theme of the B body better, but we'll see. So we are going to just kind of knock out the boring stuff first and then kind of go from there. But I mean, it's also important. So like I said, I went and ordered, and this is the AC Delco part number, and I'm trying to get the sun to not like glare. But anyway, this is the AC Delco part number, and this one is for the harness itself. I stuck a bunch of other things in there, but I'm just going to try to get the harness out. So here's the harness. It comes complete, and this is actually, I guess you could kind of call it the turn signal switch. But yeah, so this is it, and it has all the wiring there. I'm think for the Impalas and whatnot, there was extra slots, or it was kind of a, I want to say, universal thing for GM. A lot of GM trucks, if I'm not mistaken, even my Suburban has one of these, and that's an 89 Suburban, and my car is a 91 Caprice. This is it, pretty much self-explanatory. Once you do see what it looks like, and this just pretty much slides down into the actual I want to say the steering column, and then this here is what seats at the top, where your steering wheel and everything else kind of stack on top of this. Could be completely wrong, but I think this may be a part of the problem, possibly. Maybe the one that was currently in there was faulty, or it could be wired in a car, which I really hope is not the case. Moving on. Also, which I ordered, which I probably don't need, this here actually has contact points. It's kind of a continuous contact. All right, just tore that open with my freaking teeth. But yeah, so this one's brand new. I figured they weren't super expensive, so I might as well just almost like a refurbishing of the electronics in, or the wiring contacts inside of the steering column. So just figured I'd replace it. Why not? The other one might not be bad, but whatever. Also, another set of part numbers. I'm going to still put this stuff in the description, but I'm just trying to at least get it so that way, in case I forget, it is here. Next on the list, out of the box, this is another one, GM part. This is for the main stud that holds the steering wheel on. I just bought a replacement because I couldn't remember if the way I had it kind of hodgepodged in the Caprice right now, if there was even one there, but there is. So I may not even need this, but just got it just in case. Now for the fun stuff. What I will do is I'm actually going to go from side to side here. This one is the one that I bought already ahead of time, and I was super gung-ho on buying it because I want to try something new for the Kodiak, but it is a 6-bolt pattern, and the adapter that I got from Forever Sharp in the Kodiak is a 5-bolt pattern. So this one was new. We'll check this one out first. Boom. So here is that beauty right here. Now, it was definitely something different from what I was used to trying as far as the design. And also, you're going to notice when I pull the other one out that it's more of a, want to say, let's try to get this angle right. There's not much of a dish to this. It's more of like a, I want to say like a flat wheel. So that's definitely something to consider, because I have gotten, I guess, flat wheels or had spacers that were too thin, and it was so close to the actual steering column itself that when I went to go and turn the wheel, my knuckles were hitting the signal switch. That is not what you want. So you definitely got to pay attention to measurements on your adapters like I have in here, and also how much dish the actual wheel has. But either way, I'll be able to figure it out and adapt it. This is their shotgun style, what they call it, which I guess is kind of like a double barrel shotgun here. So this may be the one to go in the Caprice. It may not, but now I have options, because the adapter that I bought goes from a 5 pattern to their 6 pattern. And if you were curious, this adapter, the 5 pattern, their 5 patterns for their steering wheels is actually compatible with the Grant 5 pattern. So here's the top plate here that goes on top of everything right before you start to get your wheel and everything set. And then it comes with bolts, multiple sets for different things. And it also comes with the wires that you'll need for the horn, and to hook that up and make sure that the horn functions. This is the actual billet spacer that goes on top and makes it look pretty. So one of the first things that goes on is this piece here, which, I mean, hopefully you've seen other videos that have installations and kind of know what's going on here, but this is the one that actually has the grooves in it, and these grooves engage with the grooves or splines that are on the stud that is pretty much turns with the wheel column in the middle. So after you get this bad boy straight, this goes on there, then you got this part that pretty much goes on top of here, and you'll get all of that lined up. We'll see that later. And then after that, top it off, boom, there you go. So that's going to pretty much be what it looks like. And then from that point forward, that is where you're going to get your multiple patterns from that fit from the 5 to the 6. So let's check out the other wheel.
Lava.
Booyah. You said the food's hotter than lava? Let me see.
Also the cabbage is overcooked in those, sorry.
Those
are pizza rolls, those are shrimp rolls.
I'm quite sure it's fine. Wow. All right, interrupted for some gourmet dinner here. Well, or gourmet appetizer. So I'm gonna kill this and get back to
Don't bite
what?
Don't bite it.
Don't bite it?
It's hot. You're gonna.
It's windy out here.
I told you it's hotter than lava.
All right, man. I'll let it sit for a second. All right, so now let's check out this other one. Move this other stuff to the side and get this bad boy out. Now, before I actually get this out, just to explain, this is the one that's a part of, I forgot what they call it. It's like their B stock or second return, something like that. But either way, they have crazy deals when it comes to these, and they're really honest with the imperfections. So they'll show you any type of, problems that's, I guess, for the second time around them checking it out. And once they find those imperfections, that's when they mark it down and sell it as that. So this wheel is definitely like $100 and something bucks, probably at least, I don't know, maybe like $150. Could have been slightly less, I don't remember, so don't quote me, but I know I got this wheel for about maybe 60 bucks. You can't beat that. So check this out. Now this is pretty much going the opposite direction. This is more of a darker, I want to say like black, sinister look, and I'm all for it. Now this has the same wood going around, just a darker stain. I think they call this like the dark mahogany, something like that, but it has the silver rivets around it, which I wanted, and also the inside is actually black. This one reminds me of the wheel that was stolen off of the car, which was kind of a win-win for me, because it's almost like being able to get the similar style wheel to kind of restore what I had. So as far as the imperfections on this, it did show some around the actual rim or the hand grip of it. I don't see too much of that, but the one that sticks out that I'm actually going to have to use something to kind of flatten it out with is on the face and the back. So at some point what must have happened, hopefully it's showing up on camera, or if not, but there's a slight little lip here, kind of like a nip. I have to flatten that out so that the steering wheel button actually fits flush on there. So backside here, same thing on the same one. right back here. Must have been something in the manufacturing process where it caused this hole to kind of stretch a bit and the sides to kind of mushroom. So I'm going to flatten it out on this side with a flap disc. Same thing on this side, flatten it out with a flap disc, and then this thing will be ready to go. And as far as buttons go, this is actually one I had left over from the Kodiak because I forgot what I ended up doing, or I ended up ordering 2 by accident. It was my fault, but I mean, it kind of comes in handy because here's the second one here, and it matches with the black wheel, and boom, it would just go on. Done deal. But the thing is, it's not sitting flush like we said because that piece of material still sticking up, but we're going to take care of that now. Now I'm going to be cautious even though you're not going to see this because I don't want to go too wild with this. I want to do it just enough to get it where it needs to be. Ooh, beautiful. That lip is gone. Just got to handle the one on the back. There it is. Done deal. Mission accomplished. Again, this is their B stock, and they do advertise it as such, but still, just for doing that slight little bit there, slight little bit there, horn button on top, billet on the back, you won't even know it happened. So last but not least, what's in front of me now, similar setup to the Kodiak. Well, I want to say pretty much same setup, just different wheel. Anyway, this is the steering wheel button holder that I have, and for me, I have the, the trans brake. Well, not the trans brake yet. This one is free in the Kodiak for the trans brake, but to the left, that's the 2-step in the Kodiak. So I got one of these just to have it and kind of get it out of the way. So boom, got it out of the packaging. There we got, what's this thing called? Oh, these are the spacers that you need to kind of put space between the button. And that's to either bring the buttons closer to you toward the top of the wheel, so that way the back of the button doesn't hit like the turn signal switch. I have a whole video on doing this because when I did it in the Kodiak. So moving on. So the way it would work is this would actually go in the in-between space right on the back of the wheel. And once it goes there on the, oh wait, I lied, it's not on the back of the wheel, it's on the front of the wheel. So it goes on the front of the wheel and sits just like that. Now the only thing that completes it, boom, is actually having this on top. So kind of a rough draft mock-up, something like that. And like I said, I can have it in the front, I could have it behind in the rear, depending on what looks better, but just kind of setting it up for you guys so you see how it goes. And then quick, easy, you're holding the wheel, push a button, and it's easy to get to, it's not in the way, works for me. This is the setup that's going into Caprice. Only issue I have to work out is I have to see, and I'm not sure if this also has a 5 to 6 bolt pattern. I'm just not sure what type of 6-bolt pattern this has. So I'll just match it up with the adapter and see if the 6-bolt pattern on this works. Because if it does not work, then this is not going to work with this 6 pattern wheel. I would only be able to work it with this one that I have now, or go back on their website and buy another wheel. So that wraps it up for all of the stuff we have here, and all that's left is to actually get the job done. So we'll get moving on to that. All right, so here we are back out here with this clapped out thing, and that's the sport wheel from the Suburban that I have. I literally just tossed it on just so I could have a way to steer this thing, just while I was figuring everything out after it's been gutted for like the freaking 500th time. And this is the Suburban that it came out of, but I already swapped that steering wheel a while ago, and I'm probably gonna swap it again, but anyway. So what I'm gonna start doing is, I'm gonna start tearing this thing down, getting it apart. I usually always try to spread information and whatnot as far as how to do things and tutorials pretty much, but I'm kind of gonna skip that. There's plenty of videos out there that show you how to like break these things down all the way to the bare bones, this style column. And the style column in the Caprice and in the free world, the Suburban, both of them have the tilt old school Chevy style. The only thing that's different out of my fleet is, well, my trash fleet, is the Kodiak. That one has somewhat of a newer one, and it's crazy because it's still a 96. I own nothing over 2000. I don't even count the minivan because that's technically, I'm just going to say that's the missus, but whatever. So I'll get back to you after breaking all of this stuff down, start getting it back on, and go from there. All right, so I know I said I wasn't going to tutorial this, and I'm still not, but just to make it simple, the wheel that y'all saw on here, all I did was literally just take the bolt off the middle, yank it off, because it wasn't the one to come on here. It wasn't hard to pull it off. Get a steering wheel puller kit, it'll come off, done deal. After that, you would see something that I do not have, so this wouldn't be helpful to you. It is the sensor that actually goes on here that is for the airbag. I didn't have that. Like, I literally just broke it, snapped it, it came off. I didn't care because you're not going to have one anyway. So that piece is off, and this is like the connector for it that's sitting down here. So that's just tucked to the side. So other than that, the next step under would have been the lock plate. And the lock plate is a bit annoying because what it is just this plate itself pushed onto here, and then the snap ring that's in my finger, that is pretty much what retains the lock ring from coming up. So that's where I used this tool, and it removes the lock plate. And all it does is just screw onto here and use the top portion to push down on the plate to expose the retaining ring, which you saw. And then once you do that, you pull it off. Next thing that's exposed is the switch, and this is what we're replacing. So I did just pull out the, what's this lever? The signal switch. That actually just pulls out of there, and it does plug in. You can see the wire, but that's pulled out. I also had this thing here, and this pretty much screwed in right here, and the other end of this on this side goes and connects with the actual part where the switch connects at. So anyway, just had to give at least a little something. Like I said, there's plenty of videos out of there, but now I'm going to get moving to getting this actual switch out, and that's loose. I just have to go under and get the harness unplugged from under the column. All right, so walking my way under, there is the wiring harness that travels through and pops out here, and then goes down and plugs into stuff. Now, this is a wiring nightmare. There's a lot of stuff I gotta fix, but let's just try to, as hard as it may be, focus on the things that were in here. So this one, I remember this column actually came out of an Impala, so there was a lot of wiring that I didn't use. And then like this, I'm not sure. I got to see what harnesses go to the vehicle and what harnesses actually go into the column, and then go from there. So while I'm under here, I was trying to take it out, and then I realized, I'm like, why is this thing not coming out? I'm thinking it's the harness. I forgot there's like a small Phillips inside of the hazard button. So this button here, you got to actually take, it's a small Phillips, go and unscrew it. Hazard button pops out, and then it will release from here, because it's actually holding on to this switch here. So once I pop that Phillips out, then I'll be able to slide this out and get back under here. And the sucky part is, like, the reason all of this stuff looks like this is from it being stolen multiple times, and like the alarm getting cut out and everything else. All these wires here that are like cut, that is from where the alarm used to be. It's just a cluster. It's a lot to deal with just for me not wanting to let it go, but I'll just keep doing, you know, small stuff here and there. And if anything, truth be told, if I do come across a great opportunity and have a better canvas, these are things that actually just unbolt and bolt on. So I can just take this stuff off and swap it over to the better canvas if the opportunity does present itself. So I'm gonna just keep pushing with this. So here it is, starting to come out. Just pulled from here some, and also pulled from this point where I saw it until I got it to slide up and through. And here it is. So now this is where I get the brand new stuff and start sliding that in. And here is the new one. So, I'm dropping other stuff. Crap. All right, so here it is. Just got to, let's see, pull this out. I am going to look over the wires just to make sure like stuff matches, even though I'm quite sure it's fine, but why not double check? Okay, people, this is the conclusion that I came to. I am returning this to Amazon. This was the OEM GM replacement that does list 91 Caprice, and it probably would work. But here's the problem. Those extra wires that I was talking about on the original, and I think this is the one from out of my original 91 that I put into the Impala column. The wires here are missing on the end. 1, 2, and 3. This brown, orange, and then black next to it. These 3 wires here are the ones that are lacking. Again, I don't know what these go to. There's actually the main harness that clips in here, and then there's a separate harness that clips on these three under the dash for the column. If I just used this one, who knows, it may work, but again, I don't know what this is for, so I'm not chancing it. I found another one. It's not GM OEM. I can't even find one GM OEM that has these three on the end, which is making me think that it might be something that's not necessary, but I'm not chancing it. I'm going to return this one and order the other one on Amazon that looks identical to this one, and then go from there. All right, so here we are. I don't know if this is the next day, day after, whatever, but it's snowing, it sucks, but I literally just shoveled the space next to the Caprice just so I can try to get this done, because my entire 4 days off are nothing but crappy weather. But anyway, here is the other one I just ordered, and this one is identical to the one that was in a car and has those 3 wires on the end. Now, this one was off of Amazon. DNA was the brand. There was only like 1 review, so that was a little scary, and it sucks because I did find another one. I forgot the brand. I'll probably just put it in the description, but the other brand is sold on like Summit, Jags, Speedway Motors. So I mean, it must be pretty reliable. But so just gonna slap this thing in as quick as I can before I run out of daylight and it starts to snow or rain again. All right, so got the new one in there, fed through. It definitely was a bit tricky with the wires, because the switch didn't want to seat flat in there, but finagled it a bit, got it to sit in there. Just reconnected the actual turn signal switch, and well, I'm sorry, this is the switch. This is the handle for the switch. Anyway, the goal is to try to get these turn signals, hazard lights, all that stuff to function the way it's supposed to and track down the problem. So now that that's in, only other thing, we're going to put this bad boy on, and this is what makes contact with that little dowel, so that way my horn actually works. And I have to find my horn wire. But anyway, I'm going to start doing a reverse, get this pressure plate on, and go from there. Okay, so here's supposed to be the fun part. I have everything that came in this kit, this part number, which is the billet spacer that the wheel actually bolts into, like we looked at earlier. This is the first part that's actually going to go on here, and I'm going to have to figure out how to clock it later. And then in here we have the hardware, the 3 bolts I'm going to need, plus the wiring and steering wheel bolts, all that stuff. But if I dump that out really quick, what I need to do is figure out how or what orientation I'm going to get this, because as of right now my steering wheel was straight, or the tires, the car itself was going straight. So I want to make sure that however I put this is going to follow up behind it. Let me try to get you a better look here. So wherever I put this, I have to make sure when I press that in, that this thing here is going to line up where the holes line up, right there, where I want to say it's going to be top dead center for the 5-bolt pattern. Okay, so the step 1 is done. I got this pretty much where it lines up with the horn button plastic that's going right through this hole, and now it works all the way. I'm going to be slightly off, I'll show you what I mean, but that's something I can correct at the shaft, where it goes from the steering shaft into the actual gearbox, because I have messed with that multiple times before. And when installing and taking them out and putting in new ones, because people kept breaking them when they were stealing them, I could just rotate it just like a couple of teeth or a tooth at the gearbox, and it'll straighten this right out. So that's what I'm going to do. But anyway, that's on. Once I figure this out, my whole thing in mocking up, now that that's where it is, check this out. Once that goes on, now all 3 of the bolts go on, and the hole is lined up with the horn button where I got to put the wire through for that. So once I did that, next step, let me show you here. Let's just pretend that that billet cap is still on. I got this and lined this up. Now that this is lined up, same thing. All 3 holes and the horn button hole is lined up there. And now with all of that, I'm going to try to sit it there because I have one hand here. I take the steering wheel itself, the 5 bolt pattern where that comes in, right there. So now I am really close to being straight dead on. So when I do go and press this on, I know that I'm good. Okay, so before I get too deep and start bolting in, this is like another kit that's only a couple bucks that they sell. This is what I'm missing. The factory one might be better. I'm going to try to see how I can get this in, but if there's a piece of plastic that pretty much goes inside of the plastic here and locks in, see how that's kind of like an L? It locks in here and has the wire coming through. So I may have to remove this real quick and not lose my place. And I can find my place easily, but just to install these plastics. All right, so you're gonna get a spring, you're gonna get this wire, and you're gonna get the plastic clip that locks into that plastic L over here. So I will see if I'm right, but I'm gonna just keep rocking out like this. You put it in, and the spring goes there so it can keep pressure on the contact point. I am just trying to get it lined up as I'm going it. Boom. All right, so the spring's in there. It's locked into place, and it should not move, but that is my contact. So I figured it's better to just do that and then just feed everything through. All right, so fed this through, and I'm gonna do the same thing when it comes to the cover, like so. Oh, wow, okay, horn works, didn't know that. Going to put this through like so, bam. And then, let's see, that's in. And then I'm gonna go with putting on the billet adapter and go from there. So my past experiences with these, what I am gonna do though, is I'm going to trim these two like slots here. I'm quite sure it's probably for something from the factory, whatever, but when it comes to this, you don't need it. But the problem that you run into is this thing, when it goes on, long story short, let me try to get it on there real quick. When it goes on, it's not perfect, and this thing tends to, the billet cap tends to rub on this thing here, which kind of sucks, but we'll see how it is. I'm not going to go super duper crazy with tightening up this bolt, just enough where the teeth are engaged, and it's a lock nut anyway. I got a new one. The factory lock nut would have been fine, but I'm just using a new one I got. It's going to hold it on as long as the teeth are engaged, the nut's not backing off, and have the threads locked in, so it'll work. And I don't want to go too deep because, again, this ring here, it has an issue with rubbing on it for whatever reason. I've had this with Grant wheels, forever sharp adapters. It doesn't matter. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I am actually going to take my little Dremel thingy, my rotary tool, and I'm going to shave that down. But I don't want to get all kinds of shavings inside of the thing. So I'm going to take this rag here and kind of just cover up as much as I can and tuck it and try to hold it out of the way and use the Dremel bit to just trim these down a bit. All right, so there it is. Just use this thing and took it back a bit. Didn't go crazy with it. It's plastic anyway, so I mean, it's not like it's super hard to get down. I may chase it down a little bit further, nothing wild, and then continue on what we're doing here. All right, boom, progress. So far, here's what we got. This thing's tightened down. I just did it enough to where as though the billet adapter didn't move separately from the bolt. Now it's pretty snug. I already felt the lock on the nut start to engage and actually hold. So it's already locked in position. And I'm going to test this out and see how this goes so far. So it's engaged. It's not crazy torqued down, just enough. I'm still probably going to have a little rub on these edges. I don't know. We're going to find out. But these bolts are tightened down with an 11 millimeter. That's what I used. And it does get a little tricky because they're close to the wall of this cylinder here. But yeah, got those tightened down. This is tight. This thing works. I don't even remember the last time I had a working horn in this car, but now I do after replacing all the wiring and all that stuff. So that's a plus. And as far as the negative goes, same thing. Like I said, the kit comes with these. This one actually screws onto, let me see here. There's a little screw hole there and that's where this screws into. And there should be a bolt, I just have to find it, it's probably in the bag, that holds this down, and the opposite end just goes to the negative, which is going to be one of the other posts on this thing. And once those two are connected, positive and negative, horns on, hit it, boop, boop, it's going to work. All right, boom. So, like I said, bolt was in the bag. They came through. All hardware is there. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I like, quality control. So, all right, all of that's in. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the first candidate, this wheel, and I'm going to get my bracket for my steering wheel buttons and kind of get this stuff mocked up. All right, boom. Almost in the home stretch. This here may be the setup. Like I said, I don't remember how I have it in the Kodiak, and then truthfully it doesn't have to be how it is. That's my C1500 96 OBS, but I'm not sure if this is how it's going to stay, or this may go to the back or the front. But for you guys, you wouldn't worry about this. This isn't something that everybody would use. So anyway, this wheel's on. I got it mocked up with the studs or the bolts that this comes with. But the thing is, when it comes to these, I actually have to have a longer bolt, and it's not the cone-shaped head like these are. They're a little longer, and they're more of like a circular top. So I have to find those. I believe I do have them. It comes with it when you order the horn. I just gotta find them and get those in, and truthfully, just connect the wires where they're supposed to go, bolt this bad boy on, and I'm back to functioning with a more presentable wheel and a horn, which I never had before. All right, so I got the black one on, again, mock-up, just because I didn't want to leave this part out. The outer tab closest to the outer is going to be the ground. The tab on the inside is going to be the positive. I myself had to go on the Forever Sharp YouTube channel, which I recommend because, like I said, they'll probably get more into detail with this. I had to go back over there just to double check which one was positive, which one was negative. But the inner is the positive, the outer is the negative. Worst case scenario, you'll literally put this thing on, hook it up, and it will either continuously go off or something wild. But nothing horrible is going to happen except for annoying yourself and the neighbors. But anyway, yeah, going to get these put on and get everything bolted down. Now, as far as fitment of the horn button holder, well, not horn button, but it's the accessory buttons bracket. As far as this goes, I did shave it on the ends, on the corners here, to make sure that it didn't interfere with the wheel, so it did sit flush. I may have been able to get away with it without doing this, honestly. I had to do the same thing in the Kodiak, but the Kodiak wheel is different. The spokes do come up a bit more than they do on this one. Quick test run of this wheel. I actually like this one, and I would probably leave it in here to kind of rock out. It fits better than I thought, but the thing is, there's so much work to be done in here with the interior and everything else. Something else may fit the bill later, but I'm still glad that I have it as an option. So now that I got this on, I just put the 2 bolts in there. I realized I do not have the longer bolts, or did not have the longer bolts. So what I ended up doing was going to Lowe's and grabbing them. They are, and it sucks because I don't think this camera is going to focus on it at all, they're M5-.80 or M5-.8 by 16. The 16 is the length, but the thread pitch is the M5.8. So this is what you would get in whatever length you need. These are a bit longer than the ones that I had that came with the other wheel. I lost the other button that I have, so it is what it is, that came with the bolts. Okay, so here's the deal. Got it running, got the fans on, it's not overheating. You guys saw we kind of tackled that last time. I don't even know if I probably did an update on that, but long story short, it can run, it can idle. It probably gives me about maybe 180 degrees with the fans on, continuously running. But then again, that's only idling. If I probably mash it and hit it and really put some heat into the motor, that'll be the real test. But anyway, that's not what this is about. I got it on to show you guys what I was doing with the turn signals, because the turn signals were giving me a problem, and trying to go left to right, it's not clicking. There's no flash at all. It just stays on. I have changed all the lights so all the lights work. I have changed the resistor, and I actually thought that I had 2 resistors because I watched a video on another guy, but he had a later Caprice, like a 95, something around there. So the 95s, the earlier Caprices and Impalas, they have multiple resistors. I only have one in the 91. Had a feeling that it wasn't going to be a problem because I changed it in the past, but it is what it is. So long story short, after doing that, changing out all the bulbs, we still have the same problem. But on the bright side, steering wheel is installed, and it's good to go, man. Got all of the bolts because I had found the other button from the previous order I made, but the other button was just a 5 bolt, so whereas though everything about this is a 6. Both wheels, the black one and this one, they're both 6s. So got it on, button works beautifully. So yeah, plus, good stuff, man. But let me turn the signal down, and as you can see, lights up there. Back here, both are lit like they're supposed to be. The middle one is the running light. Same thing up front, this one's lit. And now let's go vice versa. And wow, okay, so that one's not lit. It's making me look crazy, but it was lit before. Let's check out the back. All right, so back is lit. Let's check out the front. And front is lit. So not sure what was going on there. Okay, so just shut her down. And yeah, I'm not sure why it wasn't lighting up on that side on the dash. It was doing it the other day, but anyway, it's probably something small. Just gotta change the bulb out, maybe. But yeah, as far as this wheel goes, definitely kind of a start in the correct direction. I'm actually waiting to hear back from a guy on Marketplace about the door pulls for the interior doors. The panels I have aren't in bad condition. I have another pair of panels, actually all 4. I'm going to scuff those up, paint them real good. And as far as the floors go, for now, I do have mats so that the water that's leaking in through the windshield can stop dripping on the floor and making it worse. So those mats are actually going to hold that moisture, and I'll just have to keep an eye on that, but at least it won't be getting into contact with the metal. This whole thing is a whole multi-part process because not only am I going to have to replace the freaking windshield, but I'm also going to have to replace the rear windshield, and then going to have to start floor work, and we'll see how that goes. So this is kind of cool having all 3 swapped over. So boom, still in the middle of this, but kind of cool. That's the Caprice. Then moving into the Kodiak, boom, pretty cool, pretty cool. And then number 3, walking up to the bad boy, big boy, Suburban, aka Free World, and bam. So this one has seen war over the years, so this is going to get swapped out. I'm going to, I'm not sure what type of wheel I'm put on there. I'll probably mess with a few things, but the wood grain, definitely sun beat, a few cracks, clear coat's done, but I mean, this thing's been on there for a long time. So yeah, all 3 of these turds will eventually be rocking and rolling and on the road, but got a ways to go. And it's wild because this thing, the way that I decided to do it, this kind of jumped to the front of the line, but it's because the way I'm going about it is the most feasible, and I'll be able to hop in and pull off and drive way easier than this one for now until I get this motor situation figured out. But all right, man, piece by piece, got to get it together and going to move on to the next thing. I got the bumpers. Those are going on the side. I'm kind of doing both things at the same time. The front one's actually on at this very moment, but timeline's all screwed up. And I'm about to mess with the rear one, so hopefully it's not too much of a hassle, but we'll see. But all right, man, I don't even know whether to take this as a win or a loss, but it is what it is. Just keep chopping away, and hopefully things start to fall into place. But all right, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.